Hello everybody. For this video, we are going to talk about the three kinds of conjunctions. So I want you to look at your grammar book, page 164, while you watch this video. There are three new types of conjunctions that are listed at the top of the page. So if you need to pause the video so you can get your book, go ahead. All right, if you look at the first part, a conjunction joins words or groups of words in a sentence, and there are three kinds. Now, the conjunctions that you should already know are the ones that we've talked about with compound sentences, and, but, and or. And if you remember, a compound sentence is when you have two sentences on either side of an and, a but, and an or, but it has a comma before it, not after it. Some people will put a comma after it, but that's not correct. So you've been using coordinating conjunctions and you didn't even realize it. So isn't that fabulous? And there you will see the definition: the coordinating conjunctions and, but, and or join two simple sentences to form a compound sentence. We did that all year long in DOL. So that's the one you all should already know. You just now know that you call them coordinating conjunctions. All right, so the two new kinds are subordinating conjunctions and correlative conjunctions. Now, at the beginning of the year, I told you that a lot of these things you already have seen, you already maybe know about, but you may not know the correct English or grammar terminology for it. And that's what we're looking at here with this. So look at the definition for subordinating conjunctions. Here's some examples: before, because, when. They connect related ideas in a complex sentence. Now, we talked about complex sentences as well, and if you need to go back and review those notes, if you look at the index of the book or either the table of contents of the book, you can go back and find the pages where it talked about complex sentences. But basically, complex sentences are when you have that regular sentence, but then you have another fragment sentence, a dependent clause that's either at the beginning, where it would have a comma after it, or it's at the end of a sentence that already has a complete sentence in it. So here's some examples. We get together before the day is over. And you see, we get together as a sentence and the day is over is a sentence, but you've got that before that connects in there and makes it a complex sentence because it's got one complete sentence and then one sentence that could be complete if it didn't have that extra little word attached to it. And then the next one is the example with the comma. So these make complex sentences easy whenever the subordinate clause is at the beginning of a sentence. Because we have some time tomorrow, comma, we can visit then. So in that case, the complex sentence has the dependent clause at the beginning. And then the next one, we will board the bus when it arrives. So in that case, the subordinate clause is at the end of the sentence. So it's basically just kind of learning which words can be subordinating conjunctions, but usually if you see those words, you're going to have a complex sentence. And then the last one are correlative conjunctions. Now, correlative conjunctions are pairs of conjunctions. They always come with each other. They have to have a partner. Okay? They work together to connect two items in a sentence. So like both and, either and or, neither and nor, not only but also. Those are primarily the main sets that you will have as correlative conjunctions. So those are just ones that you'll get used to hearing together. So look at the example sentences. Both Joe and Sue will go on a field trip. What that means is that each of these are two options as possible. Joe will go on the field trip and Sue will go on the field trip. Either you go to the museum or you stay at school. So there's still two options, but you have to choose one. You can either go to the museum or you can stay at school. You can't do both. And look at the next one. Neither Pablo nor I have been there. That means that neither option has been possible. Neither one of us have been there. Later, I was not only tired, but also sleepy. In this case, both options are true. I'm tired and I'm sleepy. So that is a little bit more difficult concept there, but you will get used to hearing those words together when you, if you start noticing them in sentences. So let's look at practice A. Practice A has a comma. So anytime you see a comma in a sentence, there are reasons for that comma. So you have to think, oh, well, I'm talking about conjunctions here in this lesson. So I might have a compound sentence, like with the coordinating conjunctions, or I might have a complex sentence where the subordinating clause is at the beginning of a sentence. So those are the two things that should go through your mind is, what do I have? So it's obvious if you have an and, but, or an or, it's going to be the first option, coordinating conjunctions. So I see a comma and I see an or. So what I would make sure is that I have two complete sentences on either side of the or. I must get to school early, comma, or I will miss the bus to the museum. So it's obvious that or is the example there. All right, look at number 2. There's a comma. Comma screams, ooh, look at me. Before we go to the museum, comma, our parents have to sign permission slips. So I don't see an and, but, or an or, but what else do I see? Well, our parents have to sign permission slips. That's one whole sentence. We go to the museum. That's a complete sentence, but you got that before tacked on there. And I know because I have read through my little list of words that before is a subordinating conjunction. All right, look at number 3. The trip to the National Air and Space Museum was both thrilling and tiring. All right, so I got two things that trip was. It was thrilling and it was tiring. By the way, if you go to the Air and Space Museum, it is thrilling and tiring. Just saying. But I know that both and are working together there, and so that is going to be my correlative conjunction. So underline those. All right, so why don't you do 4 through 8, pause the video until you've completed 4 through 8, and then I'll go through the answers. All right, let's continue on with number 4. We learned that the telescopes are very useful and important. And is not connecting two sentences, but it is connecting two words, useful and important, which are adjectives. So, in predicate adjectives, in fact. So that is the coordinating conjunction. So just notice it doesn't always have to be two sentences that it connects, but it can just be anything that it connects. Number 5, neither my teacher nor I had ever seen a real space shuttle. You've got the two in words there, neither and nor. Number 6, I want to go back to the museum because there's so much more to see. Because, we already know because is one of the biggest conjunctions there to remember. Number 7, when we visit again, I want to see the Wright brothers exhibit. That is, again, a complex sentence. When we visit again, so when would be the conjunction. Number 8, after our field trip, comma, I learned that museums are not only fun, but also educational. So you have not only and but also. So that's easy. All right, so go to section B and just circle the correct word. Now, you do have the advantage of being a great English speaker, so most of these are going to make sense just because you speak English well. So pause the video and do B. All right, we're going back to the answers for B. Number 1 should be but also. I'm not only happy, but also excited about seeing the shuttle launch. Number 2 should be both. The space shuttles, Discovery and Enterprise, have been to outer space. Notice there that those ships are written in italics there. That's the way we do those in writing, is you put names of ships in italics or you underline them. Number 3, after we visited the National Air and Space Museum, I took out a book from the library on spacecrafts. Number 4, my favorite spacecraft in the book is gold and black. Number 5, I want to be either a pilot or an astronaut when I grow up. Number 6, my dad and I are watching a show about outer space. Number 7, we ate popcorn while we watched the series premiere. Number 8, neither my mom nor my brothers have seen all of the shows in this popular series. Number 9, although they are very heavy, space shuttles rocket quickly through the air. And number 10, I know a lot about spaceships, but I don't know much about satellites. All right, so just out of curiosity, look at number 2, number 3, and number 9. Did you notice that those are written in capital letters? Remember, beginning of a sentence, capital letter. All right, so just to recap for a minute, coordinating conjunctions are and, but, and or. They can connect compound sentences, but as we saw in the example sentences, they can also connect nouns. They can also connect adjectives. Anytime you are connecting anything, you use a coordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions have to be with a complex sentence with adding in a dependent clause there with an independent clause. Could come before this, at the beginning of the sentence, or at the end of the sentence. And then correlative conjunctions are paired words, both and, either or, neither nor, or not only and but also. All right, so if you look at the assignment sheet, you are going to do 166 and 167 and put in your next folder of work. And so for 166, there are a couple of them that could, maybe you could use more than one answer to, but just try to read them so that they make the most sense. And then on 167, all you're going to do is read the sentences, and you're going to write correct or incorrect. You can abbreviate and put C for correct or IC for incorrect. And that will complete what we're talking about with conjunctions. It's just a little bit of information with that. If you want to go back and look at complex sentences to review that, just for your own knowledge, please feel free. We are just about finished with everything that we're going to be doing with the grammar book. Yay! But you know I love it. So do those pages carefully. Make sure you put your name on them and put them in your folder of work. Bye.